At the dawn of time, when gods and mortals still shared the same land, the great city of Troy rose, proud and resplendent, protected by its imposing walls and the hand of its guardian deities. It was here that the fate of kings and heroes was woven with the blood of valor and betrayal, in a war that would echo through the ages. It all began when Paris, Prince of Troy, was chosen by the gods to decide who, among Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite, was the most beautiful. Aphrodite, with her cunning seduction, promised the young man the most beautiful woman in the world, Helen, wife of Menelaus, king of Sparta. Enchanted by the goddess and consumed by desire, Paris abducted Helen and took her to Troy, unaware that his love would unleash the wrath of all Greece. The Achaean kings, led by Agamemnon, brother of Menelaus, united their forces and swore to avenge the offense. 100 ships crossed the seas, carrying with them the greatest warriors history would ever know: the fierce Achilles, swift-footed; the cunning Odysseus, sharp-minded; the valiant Ajax; the fearless Diomedes, and many others. For 10 years, war ravaged Troy, stained with pain and glory, while the gods from Olympus tilted the scales of fate at their whim. The conflict was not merely a clash between men but also between gods and passions. Poseidon, frustrated by the arrogance of the Achaeans, turned the seas against them. Zeus, in his unshakable wisdom, allowed fate to run its course. Apollo protected the Trojans, while Athena and Hera sided with the Achaeans. In the heat of battle, Achilles, the greatest warrior of Greece, fought with superhuman ferocity, but his wrath ignited when his beloved friend Patroclus was slain by Hector, Prince of Troy. Enraged and thirsting for revenge, Achilles challenged Hector to a duel. The battle was fierce, and the Trojan hero's spear barely withstood his enemy's fury. With a precise strike, Achilles felled Hector and dragged his corpse around the walls of Troy, humiliating his foes. Priam, the aged king of Troy, dared to enter Achilles' tent to plead for his son's body. In an act of humanity and respect, the Greek warrior relented, allowing the Trojans to give their champion a proper burial. However, tragedy had yet to reach its peak. Achilles, the mightiest of the Achaean warriors, met his fate at the tip of an arrow guided by Apollo himself and shot by his rival, Paris. Struck in his only vulnerable spot, his heel, the great hero fell, and with him the morale of the Achaeans wavered momentarily. But the war was not yet over. Troy's walls seemed unbreakable, and despair began to creep over the Achaeans. But Odysseus, ever astute, devised an unparalleled stratagem: the great wooden horse which the Trojans in their pride took as a trophy of victory. Unaware of the danger, they opened their gates and celebrated their triumph with feasts and songs. When the moon cloaked the sky in its veil of shadows, the warriors hidden within the horse emerged, and fire consumed the city. Troy's fall was brutal. The city collapsed amidst screams of horror and bloodied steel. Priam, its king, was slain in his own palace. Hector, its greatest warrior, had already perished at the hands of Achilles. Andromache and the Trojan women were taken as slaves. Cassandra, the cursed prophetess, watched as her warnings were ignored until the end, and Aeneas, bearing the destiny of his lineage upon his shoulders, escaped through the flames, guided by the will of the gods toward a new future. Thus ended the great war of Troy, in a twilight of flames and tragedy, with heroes who found their glory and others who met their doom. But the story did not end there. The victors, believing the gods would favor them, set sail for their homelands, unaware that their fates were still marked. Odysseus wandered the seas for 10 years, facing monsters, tempests, and divine trials. Agamemnon met his death at the hands of his wife upon returning to his palace, a victim of treachery. Menelaus and Helen returned to Sparta, but their love was never the same, haunted by the ghosts of war. Troy vanished in ashes, but its story was never lost, for it was etched into the stars, carried in the voices of poets, and immortalized in human memory. Its fall marked the end of an era and the birth of new legends, which would continue to resonate in the history of mankind until the end of time.